The Blood Countess. Was Elizabeth Báthory a real-life female Dracula? But what if the most terrifying vampire of all wasn't a myth, but a noble woman? Wealthy, powerful, and accused of bathing in blood. This is the story of Elizabeth Báthory, the so-called Blood Countess. Was she history's most prolific female serial killer, or the victim of a sinister plot? Her origins, born in 1560 into one of Hungary's most elite families, Elizabeth Báthory was destined for power. She was brilliant, educated, and could speak Latin, German, and Hungarian. Her family had kings, cardinals, and warriors. She had every advantage. At just 15, she married Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a celebrated soldier. They moved into Choctich Castle, where she managed estates, ran the household, and even had her own staff of servants. But behind the castle walls, a nightmare was allegedly unfolding. Rumors began to swirl. Young peasant girls who went to work for Elizabeth disappeared. Then, noble daughters who came to learn court etiquette were never seen again. According to witnesses, Elizabeth tortured her victims with hot irons, needles, and knives. She allegedly bit chunks of flesh from their faces, burned them, froze them, starved them, and worst of all, bathed in their blood to preserve her youth. One servant claimed she saw the Countess slap a maid so hard that blood spattered on her hand, and Elizabeth noticed her skin looked more youthful. This, legend says, was the beginning of her obsession. By 1610, whispers turned into screams. King Matthias of Hungary ordered an investigation. Soldiers raided Choctich Castle and found bodies buried, others imprisoned, and shocking testimonies. Some estimates claim she killed over 600 young women. If true, that would make her the most prolific female murderer in history. The trial and twist. But here's where the story turns. Despite the horror stories, Elizabeth Báthory was never formally tried or convicted. Her high status likely saved her from public execution. Instead, she was sealed in her castle, walls bricked up, windows closed, and left to rot. She died 4 years later in 1614. Modern historians question everything. There's no physical evidence she bathed in blood. The trial was based almost entirely on hearsay. No bodies were ever exhumed, no first-hand confession ever recorded. Could she have been framed? She was a rich widow with massive landholdings, and the king owed her late husband a large debt. Taking her down would cancel that debt and redistribute her power. Some believe the charges were exaggerated or even fabricated as part of a political plot to eliminate a woman who had become too powerful. Myth is truth. So, was she a sadistic monster or a victim of patriarchal politics? The truth likely lies somewhere in between. It's possible she did commit acts of cruelty, common in noble households of the time, but the scale may have been inflated to justify her fall. The legend of the Blood Countess has grown darker with time, morphing her into a vampire-like figure. She became a symbol of vanity, female power gone wrong, and the dangers of unchecked authority. But maybe, just maybe, her worst crime was being a powerful woman in a man's world. The lesson Elizabeth Báthory's story teaches us an important lesson. History isn't always written by the victors, it's often written by the survivors and twisted to serve power. Whether she was a mass murderer or a misunderstood noblewoman, her tale reminds us to question what we hear, seek the evidence, and understand the context, especially when blood is involved. If this story gave you chills, go ahead and like this video. It helps more than you know. Share it with someone who loves true crime, horror, or dark history. And subscribe for more strange tales where fact meets legend. Comment below, was Elizabeth Báthory a monster or a victim? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. Stay skeptical.